Welcome to God Answers Prayer. I'm Linda Tiano. It's good to have you with us today. I want to start out with a scripture that's found in the book of John, chapter 14, verse 15. If you love me, obey my commandments. How many of us can say we understand what this scripture truly means? Today we're going to delve into a greater understanding of not only what this means, but how do we apply this in our lives. Dr. Denis Otero has been walking in the way of those commandments for many years and helping others to ask for the ancient paths. He's sharing with us today. We'll be right back with him after this. Well, welcome back. I'm here with Dr. Denis Otero from Olive Tree Fellowship right here in Albuquerque. It's good to have you back.
It's good to be back anytime here.
It's been a while.
Channel 11, KCHF. Adonai has done mighty things throughout the years, and it is good to know that we're continuing. I was really blessed with this last banquet.
Yes.
It was powerful, and just knowing that Adonai is bringing the gospel to New Mexico and the world now.
Right,
So I am blessed to be part of this
for
the years and today.
Many years.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the day that I came back from Feast of Tabernacles in 2003, I think it was, and told Blackie, I said, I just can't keep walking with one foot over here and one foot over here. And he said, fine, let's just call Dennis and get him to come out to the station. and for, I think it was, what, 4 years?
Yeah.
That you were out there with us teaching.
Yes.
And of course, we knew you before then.
Yes.
And I tell people that the first time I remember seeing you was when you made a comment on one of the programs. You said, the Easter Bunny and the Playboy Bunny are one and the same.
Oh, yes.
And I thought, oh, wow, somebody gets it, you know, because it was like I was awakening to a lot of this, and just to know that there was somebody else out there that believed that way. It was so encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's still true today. I think more and more people are, they're going deeper.
Mm-hmm.
They're, you know, it is an awakening of sorts.
Yes. In fact, in conversating even with pastors, I'm seeing a lot of pastors waking up to some of these things. It's interesting that a lot of them are still in that paganized Christianity thing of Easter and the Christmases, the Valentine, even the Halloweens. But this year, I've seen a lot of them that have said, you know what, we're not going to do this no more. We're not going to do that no more. And they're starting to open up to the Hebraic. And it's important that we say the Hebraic model, the Hebraic way of life, because it is the Hebrew Bible, the Torah, that is the foundation for everything we believe. It's the foundation, like the scripture, if you obey me, keep my commandments.
Right.
If, you know, obey my commandments if you love me. One of the things that we know is the commandments are in 3 sections. There's our belief, our behavior, and our practice. And when we get the scriptures, the Torah and the apostolic writings from Genesis to Revelation, there we will find out what we believe, what we should believe, and what we should not believe.
Yeah.
How we must behave and how we should not behave. What we need to practice and what we need to not practice. And get away from what we've been taught to be normal in our Christianities or our Judaisms too, because this applies to Jewish people too. Jewish people and Gentile Christians need to get away from a lot of the traditions that have been there, and we need to get back to obeying the commandments, obeying what he said. in our belief, because so many people believe so many different things.
Right, right.
And we behave different ways. And we practice different things. And Adonai wants that unity. And now I really see that it's coming among a lot of believers, a lot of pastors coming together.
So, I mean, you use the word Hebraic. So that means that that the Hebrew has to come in. And who was the first Hebrew?
Well, the first Hebrew was Abraham. Abraham in fact, this week's parashah is Lech Lecha.
Right.
Where Adonai calls Abraham out of his people, out of his country, out of his kin, for a land that I will show you, and I will bless you, and I will give you a seed, and all the mishpocha, all the families of the earth shall be blessed in you. Now, what's interesting is that Adonai tells him, all the families of the earth will be blessed in you. That right there is the gospel. In Galatians 3, Paul says, when Abraham was told, in you all the families of the earth will be blessed, he preached the gospel. And so from the beginning, the gospel is Hebraic. The Hebrew got the good news of salvation begins with a man. Now, Genesis 1 through 11 is the beginnings of everything. But chapter 12, with the first Hebrew, Adonai opens up a family, a man, a tribe, a family that becomes a nation that is Israel today. And from this Hebrew, the word Hebrew, Iver, comes from crossing over. Someone who crosses a river.
Right.
A river crosser. And so he had to cross from his pagan roots in Joshua 24. Joshua, it says right there that our fathers were idol worshippers. Our fathers worshipped idols on the other side of the river. On the other side of the river is where the idols are. But Avram, which was his first name, crossed over in obedience. In obedience. He was a Gentile. Abraham wasn't, a lot of people say, he was the first Jew. No, he was not. He was a Gentile. And by crossing over, he became a Hebrew, a river crosser. And it's interesting that crossing rivers is part of the idea of what every one of us needs to do. Because look at us in Egypt. We had been paganized in Egypt and had lost everything. And then we had to cross the sea. And then from the other side, even the 40 years of the wilderness, we had to cross the Jordan River. Joshua crossed the Jordan River. Right. At the very spot where Joshua crossed the Jordan River is when Yochanan, Jacob, and John the priest, the Baptist, was baptizing people, and they were crossing over. As they were crossing over, that baptism is a crossover.
Yes.
So every time we have an immersion, a baptism, you go down, you die from your old self, from all your pagan stuff, from all your sin, and you cross over. You come up out of the water and as a symbol of being born again with a new life. And in a sense, that's what makes us Hebraic also, because we cross over as Abraham crossed over from his pagan roots. We are Hebraic. That doesn't make us Jewish. We're not talking about Judaism or Jewish. We're talking about the Hebraic lifestyle of being a crossover, leaving the past, leaving sometimes, like Yeshua said, we even have to leave our families. Sometimes our families will leave us and we will leave them. Not that we would want to, we would want them with us, and many of them have come with us. But we cross over into a life that will bring blessings if we follow,
Right.
and curses if we do not follow and keep his commandments. There are blessings and curses that come with following or not following the way. Even as believers, we need to learn to keep, follow, obey those commandments that he has given us.
You know, it's interesting because I know, you know, being brought up in a Christian home, I mean, where we were taught that we were under the covenant of Abraham, right?
Right.
But not fully understanding what that really meant.
Right. And now I really believe that Adonai has given us a way to understand the Abrahamic covenant. The Abrahamic covenant, apart from the Mosaic, now Mosaic is conditional. You do this and I will bless you. Don't do this and I will curse you. The Abrahamic covenant, which precedes the Mosaic, is an unconditional covenant. And it's a covenant of agape, what we would call agape love that Adonai has. It's an unconditional covenant, and it's seen with Abraham when Adonai told him, cut, sacrifice 2 oxen and the sheep and all the way down to the birds and go through them. And what's interesting, it's an unconditional covenant because all of a sudden, as soon as he did that, in the system of that way, 2 people would walk between the animals, and their feet would have blood, and the blood of those animals would signify that if I break the covenant, I'm a dead, that's my life. And in a sense, when Adonai did that, all of a sudden, he puts Abraham to sleep. And at that moment, Adonai passed through the covenant, and the pre-incarnate Yeshua passed through the covenant. So there was two that passed through the covenant. One Adonai for his own part, and the Father for his own part, and the pre-incarnate Yeshua for Abraham. And so Yeshua took Abraham's part. And so even if Abraham breaks the covenant, which he did, which we have, and we're liable for that, that's why Yeshua now takes the death of the Abrahamic covenant there, takes the death, and he had to die because, yes, Abraham and we all, for all have sinned and fallen short. Yeshua there with that covenant now takes it upon himself to pay the penalty of the broken covenant of the Abrahamic covenant. So it's unconditional for us.
There's so much to it all, and one of the things, maybe we can discuss this in the next segment, because a lot of people want to major on this whole idea of new covenant. I'm finding that has opened a door for replacement theology and anti-Semitism and a lot of things that people don't even realize.
Correct.
But just because we didn't know. But first of all, I just want to let you know we've got prayer partners that love to pray, and they would love to pray with you. And if you are out there, you need prayer for anything whatsoever, you are not alone. Please call us. The number's right there on the bottom of the screen. And if you haven't said yes to the great gift that was given to all mankind, Yeshua HaMashiach, then I pray that as the Father himself is drawing you by his Spirit today, that you would say yes to Yeshua. I believe in you. I believe you died for me. And I'm asking you to come and sit on the throne of my heart. Call us. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back. I'm here with Dr. Denis Otero, and we were just talking about the Abrahamic covenant and what all that means. And I brought up the fact that, you know, my understanding is that I think there's been a misprint in our Bibles when it calls it a new covenant. Mm-hmm. It's really a renewed, right?
Correct. Correct. In Jeremiah 31:31, behold, the days are coming when I will make a brit chadashah, mm-hmm. a new covenant. But that word chadashah does not mean brand new, as in the sense of
negating everything else.
Yeah, forgetting everything behind and starting all over again. It's a reconditioning. It's a way of, like, say, a new car. I got a new car. Well, the car was broken, but what we did is we went in there and put everything brand new to it. So we were broken. Mm-hmm. We broke the first covenant. And that's what it says. You broke that covenant of mine. But no, I will make a Brit Chadashah with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, which is the whole house, not just the Jews,
right?
But the whole house of Israel and Judah. Not like a covenant I made with them in those days. You broke that covenant. No, this is the covenant I will make in those days. I will put my Torah in your heart. He's going to put his spirit, and from Ezekiel 36, he's going to put that in our heart through the Spirit. I will make you keep my Torah, he says, through my Spirit. And so he puts a new covenant. He renews us. He renews the brokenness of our lives. Mm-hmm. And that's what the new covenant is. It's a renewal of the first covenant. Now, the problem that we have today is with the idea of the Old Testament and the New Testament. And those come from the early church fathers. And what it really is, it comes to the idea of when you make a last will and testament. You make a last will and testament, and say you get married, and you make a last will and testament, and my wife gets everything. She gets the car, she gets the house, she gets everything. And you die, and that's what happened. Mm-hmm. Well, say you get divorced, and you have a new wife. Well, you renew the last will and testament. And so now it's a renewed covenant with these new things there. Well, if your wife dies, the first wife can come back and say, hey, here's the last will and testament. No, one of the things that we need to understand about, we need to take that idea of a will, of a testament, even mm-hmm. the word testament. Right. It's not a will. This is not even a contract. It is a relationship between Elohim and us. And so what they did is, when the new covenant was made, the renewed covenant, what the early church fathers said is, well, wait a second. So the old one, the first covenant that Adonai made, that's obsolete. So let's throw it away. Well, no, we don't throw it. We don't throw that obsolete one away. It's not obsolete. It is archaic in the sense of that was the first one, but it's not obsolete. That's why Yeshua says that he did not come to make the Torah and the prophets obsolete, to throw them away, to abolish tear them up. Yeah. He came to fulfill them. And so the first covenant and the renewed covenant is really one covenant. We need to erase. I wish there would some publisher would make a Bible without the Old Testament, New Testament. I've even gotten those words out of my mind. I don't use the word Old Testament, New Testament. Right. I use the Torah, the prophets, and the apostolic writings, mm-hmm. the writings of the apostles. And because of that, we need to understand that the renewed covenant is, in fact, we shouldn't even call like I said, the Hebrew scriptures, Old Testament, at all, and New Testament. The new covenant is something that Adonai does. It's not the book.
Yeah.
It's what Adonai has
Happens
done
in our hearts.
in us. And we have been renewed. And so now what I do is I keep from Genesis to Revelation, say it is one covenant with different facets. Because just like a car, we buy a car, it breaks down. Sometimes we put new things. Sometimes they even put better things. The book of Hebrews says that the new covenant, the Brit Hadashah, is a better covenant than the first covenant. And so there are even with Yeshua, because the thing that people need to understand is Adonai made a covenant with Abraham, a human. He made a covenant with Moses. He made a covenant with David. These were humans.
Yes.
But when Yeshua came, see, Yeshua didn't come as just a human. He came as the son of Elohim. So now when Yeshua lifts up the cup the night before he was betrayed and says, this is the Brit Hadashah, this is the new covenant in my blood. Now he as the son, not as a man.
Right.
Adonai giving it to a man, but as the son has the power, has the authority to now initiate a covenant that is even better than the other ones, because he is having that covenant in my blood, in my body, with the bread, the afikomen and the third cup. This is my life given for you, and my covenant is now yours. My covenant is yours. And so he makes that covenant, and so now we're living under a covenant of salvation, a covenant of deliverance that Adonai has allowed us to now go to the world and bring it to not just to the Hebrews, to the Israelites, to the Jews nowadays, but to Kol Goyim, to all the nations.
Right.
So all the nations now, and that's what makes it a good news, because it's not just good news for one family, for one nation, but good news for the whole world.
You know, I like to think of it as a codicil to the will. You know, it's like you can add as many of those,
Yes.
but it's still the same will.
Yes, yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And we are running out of time. But tell us when your services are.
Our services are every Saturday. Excuse me. Every Saturday at 10 o'clock. And we start at 10 o'clock with Hebraic praise and worship. We read from the Torah scrolls. We open up the Torah scrolls, the ancient Torah scrolls, and we read from them. And then we teach about 11 o'clock. We're on YouTube, Torah Unleashed on YouTube.
Right. Okay.
And so anybody could catch us. I have probably about, I don't know, we've been about 400 teachings there on YouTube.
Great. Well, be informed and learn. If you have been saying, I know there's got to be more. There's just got to be more. Check out his YouTube channel. If you're here in Albuquerque, go visit the congregation and pray. Pray for Dr. Denis and the congregation. They've been around for a long time, teaching the good news of the Messiah. And we want to thank you for joining with us today. Thank you for your prayers for this station. And thank you for supporting us financially. We want to bless you as we leave out today. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you his everlasting peace. And Dr. Denis, will you say that in Hebrew?
Yeverechecha Yahweh va'ishmerecha, A'ir Yahweh panav elecha v'chunecha, Asa Yahweh panav elecha, v'yasem lecha shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Thank you for joining us today on God Answers Prayer. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on our program, please contact us by visiting kchftv.org and click on Share Your Testimony. Our prayer partners are here to pray for your needs. Call us today at 505-345-4165. We appreciate your prayers and support. Join us again next time for more inspiring stories and testimonies. Remember, God is always listening, and He answers our prayers in His perfect timing.